To build the machinery that powers the 21st century, you need materials that can withstand extreme heat, friction, and magnetic forces. Take the F-35 Lightning II. It relies on high-strength permanent magnets for its radar, guided munitions, and targeting systems to execute maneuvers like this. Those exact same magnetic properties are required to generate electricity on a massive scale. A single offshore wind turbine needs tons of these materials to convert kinetic rotation into grid power. The shared ingredient making both of these technologies possible is a group of 17 chemically similar metals known as rare earth elements. They are separated into highly specialized powders like cerium and neodymium. Despite the name, rare earths are actually quite common in the Earth's crust. The problem is that finding them in concentrations dense enough to profitably dig up is incredibly difficult. Because they dictate the performance of both advanced military hardware and the global decarbonization effort, the nations that secure these elements secure a massive strategic advantage. For decades, Western nations focused on designing high-tech products while deliberately outsourcing the messy reality of creating them. Extracting and processing rare earths generates highly toxic radioactive waste, an expensive headache that the US and Europe were happy to push overseas. China actively absorbed that industrial burden. After 30 years of strategic state investment, they built a highly specialized supply chain that the rest of the world now completely relies on. This chart shows the exact severity of that control as of 2024. While China handles 60% of the raw mining, they control 92% of the chemical refining and manufacture 94% of the world's permanent magnets. Between 2020 and 2026, Beijing began using this near monopoly as leverage. They implemented strict export licensing restrictions on elements like dysprosium and terbium, abruptly choking off the flow of materials to the West. Western governments quickly realized their entire industrial base, from defense to green energy, was entirely dependent on the goodwill of their primary geopolitical rival. To understand how the West is trying to break this chokehold, we have to look at the physical mine-to-magnet supply chain. It operates in 3 distinct steps. Step 1 is extraction. Getting the dirt out of the ground requires heavy machinery and capital, but the raw ore itself isn't actually the main bottleneck. This chart illustrates where the real vulnerability lies. The middle step, separation and refining, is the true geopolitical choke point. Raw ore is useless until the elements are isolated. Because they are chemically identical, separating them requires hundreds of successive, highly technical solvent extraction phases. Step 3 is manufacturing. Those refined, high-purity powders are fused and engineered into the permanent magnets that ultimately go into electric motors and targeting lasers. Having a rare earth mine in your own country offers zero security if you still have to ship the raw ore across the Pacific to be processed. Recognizing this gap, allied nations are now executing a coordinated strategy to build an entirely new supply chain outside of China's borders. Under the 2026 US-Australia framework, the two countries pledged to deploy at least $1 billion to jointly fund critical mineral extraction and processing infrastructure. The US Department of Defense has even stepped in as a direct commercial buyer, signing a $96 million deal with the Australian mining company Lynas to secure a guaranteed stockpile of heavy rare earth oxides. That capital is flowing globally. The U.S. Development Finance Corporation committed $465 million to back the Cerrado Verde project in Brazil, aiming to tap into heavy rare earth deposits in South America. Western governments have stepped into the role of industrial architects, directly financing midstream facilities needed to bridge the gap between mines and factories. But throwing billions of dollars at the problem cannot instantly reverse a 30-year deficit in chemical engineering expertise. Rebuilding this capacity means communities in places like Texas or Western Australia now have to permit and manage the highly polluting radioactive waste streams that come with rare earth processing. It also means constructing the massive physical infrastructure required to handle the volume. These are sprawling, highly specialized chemical plants that demand immense amounts of concrete, steel, and water. Capital can start the construction process, but it cannot bend the laws of physics. Scaling up heavy industry takes years, not months. By tightening export controls, Beijing accidentally triggered a massive wave of Western state investment, accelerating the creation of the exact independent supply chains they wanted to prevent. However, until those facilities actually come online, the U.S. and its allies remain deeply exposed to supply shocks for the foreseeable future. The realization here goes far beyond a single group of elements. The race for a clean, high-tech future will be won by whoever controls the messy, expensive heavy industry required to extract and refine the minerals that make it possible.